And streaming on crossroadstoday.com, Israel continues its offensive into Gaza as starvation strikes the region. And new tariffs are announced as the president's tariff deadline hits. Plus, what we know about the severe weather continuing to slam the U.S. and a hearing in Kerr County as an investigation continues.
And it's been a bit of a hot week, and it's going to stay hot for the next several days, but a dissipating cool front in central Texas going into tomorrow will bring us some rain chances for the weekend. We'll have all that in the weather coming up.
And Tapper Scrap takes place at the Victoria Community Center later tonight. We'll highlight 3 of the fighters competing later on in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and happy first day of August.
That's right.
Kind of reminded by the last episode of Community Crossroads. I interviewed someone about the annual Jamaica that's taking place at the Victoria Community Center on Sunday. So if you want to take a break from cooking that day, you may want to get some cash. I hear they take cards, and you can get a barbecue plate. You can also enter a raffle. There's a lot of fun happening at the community center.
You know, that might not be too much of a bad idea, Carolina, but we do have rain chances this weekend, so we're going to time all that out for you and see if it might not be too bad of an idea. But before you head out the door this morning, we got a nice pretty sunrise over the coast of all of us, actually. You got a little bit of cloud cover. That's starting out our day in the upper 70s, 78. The air temperature, dew point 2 degrees off, bringing humidity to 93%. Not really enough to see any fog right now, even though the visibility map is showing 2 3/4 mile visibility. So don't think we're going to see any of that out there this morning, but if you do, you know what to do. Just be careful if you see that on the roads. But be more careful today because there's going to be another hot one. Yesterday we got up to 96 in Victoria, 98 reported in Cuero. That was thanks to the cloud cover. Today, though, we're going to have more sunshine, and that'll heat South Texas up to the hundreds for some, upper 90s for everybody else. 106 Laredo, but you see all that rain, all that kind of polka dots up there in North Texas. That's rain coming away tomorrow. We'll look at that later because we're looking for another hot day. Like I said, it's heated. It sees up to 106 to 113 and spotty showers today. We'll have all those details coming up next.
An explosion followed by a plume of smoke was seen rising over the Gaza Strip early this morning as the Israeli military continued its offensive in the enclave. It comes as U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff arrived in Israel on Thursday to discuss the worsening humanitarian situation in Gaza. The death toll of Palestinians waiting for food and other aid continues to climb. At least 91 Palestinians were killed and more than 600 wounded while attempting to get aid in the past 24 hours. The United Arab Emirates conducted more aid airdrops on Gaza. On Thursday, the UAE announced conducted 58 aid airdrops this week, which included 3,787 tons of food and humanitarian supplies. The statement added that on Thursday, 41 Emirati aid trucks entered the Gaza Strip, including 12 that were carrying medical supplies to the World Health Organization. Gaza's food stocks have been running out since Israel cut off supplies to the territory in March. 151 people, including 89 children, have died of malnutrition in the most recent weeks. New or solidified tariff rates will soon be in effect for almost everything Americans import. They're set to start August 7th due to an executive order from President Donald Trump. The universal base rate will remain 10% for goods from countries with which the U.S. has a trade surplus. The base will be 15% when a trade deficit is involved. The rates are set to go even higher for goods from more than 24 other trade partners. Notably, the duty on Canadian goods will be 35% for imports that aren't compliant with the USMCA trade agreement. Now to the flash floods from Washington, D.C. into the Northeast, plus a hearing on the Kerr County floods. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the latest.
Severe storms and flash flooding slamming the East Coast. Emergencies declared in New York and New Jersey. Rainfall rates of 3 inches per hour, making a mess of rush hour. Water filling up this bus. More than 100 passengers had to use ladders and ropes to escape this Long Island Railroad train.
When they said we had to climb down, I was like having a panic attack.
Drivers trapped in vehicles along this expressway. Powerful thunderstorms hitting Pennsylvania. Multiple lightning strikes reported. In Maryland, the storm's turning deadly. A boy in Mount Airy was playing when he was swept into a drainage pipe.
The water was all the way across, and again, probably about chest level. There was too much suction, and unfortunately it ended tragically.
Outside Baltimore, water swamping roads, stranding drivers. Heavy rain also in D.C., this massive tree crushing cars. A different problem in the upper Midwest, smoke from Canadian wildfires causing some of the worst air quality in the world. Alerts issued from Minnesota to Indiana. Meanwhile, in Texas, we're learning more about the catastrophic July 4th flood that devastated Kerr County, killing more than 130 people. At a hearing, the county's emergency management coordinator, William Thomas, revealing he was sleeping as floodwaters swept the region because he was sick at the time.
I was awakened around 5:30 a.m. on July the 4th. By my wife, following a call from the City of Kerrville EMC, Jeremy Hughes, requesting that I mobilize.
But by then, hundreds of people, including 27 young campers and staff members at Camp Mystic, had been swept away by the rising water.
You should have been here directing that response. That's your responsibility.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
A former advisor to Joe Biden testified before the House Oversight Committee on Thursday. A source says Mike Donilon told lawmakers he was paid $4 million to work on the former president's 2024 campaign. He also said he would have received an additional $4 million if Biden was re-elected. In his closed-door testimony, Donilon defended Biden's fitness for office. Remember, follow us on YouTube, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. The time now, let's get a look at our clock up here at 6:37 on our Friday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up next on 25 News Now Sunrise. While many Americans keep a close eye on their spending, new research reveals an interesting trend about how shoppers respond to product changes.
President Trump unveils new tariff rates set to take effect in 7 days. I'm Nicole D'Antonio in Washington with the details and the potential impact on small businesses and consumers.
And also coming up next after the break in the short-term forecast, you heard me say we've got rain chances back in the forecast. So coming up next, I'll tell you just when I think the rain will be here.
Here's a look at what you can expect on Community Crossroads. We hear from the City of Victoria, the Salvation Army of Victoria, the Food Bank of the Golden Crescent, and Port Lavaca Main Street.
It's the first play that I've ever directed before. I've acted in plays pretty much my whole life, but it was just the first play I've directed in, and it's been a learning curve.
Well, good morning, Crossroads, and happy Friday. It's weekend time, y'all. Get excited because it's weekend time, first of all, but also get excited because we've got rain chances back in the forecast. We'll time that out here in just a second because looking at where it's coming from, it's coming off of a cool front. Yes, I said cool front, but it's going to dissipate in central Texas. You can see it right here on satellite, extending all the way past the Mississippi River Valley and in North Texas. But like I said, it's going to dissipate and die off before it even gets here. Somewhere in central Texas is where that's going to happen. But that's just okay because it will bring us our rain chances with lift in the atmosphere up ahead of the front or right along the frontal edge boundary, or the boundary's edge rather. And timing all that out for today and tomorrow. Today, Friday, we're going to have a 10% chance, 1-0, for maybe 1 or 2 spotty showers or a weak non-severe thunderstorm somewhere from Highway 59 and southward down to the coast, somewhere between the time frame 3 p.m. up until about 5 or 6 p.m., kind of like what you just saw right there. That'll clear up as we go into the evening time. Everybody else is going to look mostly sunny today, so make sure that y'all are staying hydrated in that Texas summer heat. And overnight tonight will stay mostly clear, and all day tomorrow will stay real sunny. Look how clear it is across the skies tomorrow. Grab your sunglasses, but also grab your umbrella because here comes the rain. Here's 3 p.m. starting out in our northern counties as that front starts dying off. 4 p.m. we'll see some shower activity in northern counties, but then after 6 to 9 p.m. we'll see the rain activity 40% for everybody else and all our other counties. And if you see any heavier rain tomorrow, you might pick up a quick 1 to 2 inches of rain. So remember, turn around and don't drown if you see a flooded roadway. But remember the heat. It's going to be hot. It's August, and that also means it's hurricane season. So next we'll look at the tropics.
Starting tonight at the Victoria Community Center, there'll be a top MMA boxing event called Tap or Scrap, and there's going to be 12 fights on the card, with the main event being the featherweight title between Gonzalez and Johnson. But there are a couple local fighters competing there. Victoria Gators head football coach, you probably remember, and fighter as well, Jaden Williams, and also our former athlete of the week from Satori MMA and Charles Valdez. So I caught up there with Williams, Valdez, and another fighter outside of the Houston area, and Crystal Miller, about how they feel going into their fights later tonight.
Whatever's going to happen is already going to happen, and being able to get the win here in Victoria is just be icing on the cake, especially, like I said, against a worthy opponent in my hometown, you know, for the community. I think it'll just bring a lot of eyes here.
I have worked hard for this. I really am coming out here to show my skills and get the experience of an octagon, because I've only really experienced matches in a cage.
Really good. I know it's going to be more standing than anything, which my game's my wheelhouse. I love the stand-up game. I'm more of a Muay Thai guy.
All three of these fighters are hoping to get wins there later tonight at the Victoria Community Center. Again, the first fights will start there at 7 p.m. with the doors opening at 5:30. This is Max Williams and at 25 News Now Sports.
Now to the latest on the president's tariffs. The uncertainty is having a big impact on small businesses and families. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with the details.
This morning, President Trump unveiling new tariff rates set to take effect in 7 days. The new deadline coming a day after Trump said the original August 1st deadline would not be extended. The executive order lays out rates to be applied against nearly 70 countries, including several of our largest trading partners. The tariffs range from 10% all the way up to 41%, with many countries sitting at 15%. One country's new tariff rate will begin today, Canada's. The president raising that country's tariff from 25% to 35%, although it will affect only a small percentage of Canadian products. As for Mexico, a new deal will pause higher tariffs on Mexican goods for another 90 days. The tariff whiplash has the Federal Reserve taking a wait-and-see approach to interest rates, even as President Trump pushes for a cut.
Higher tariffs have begun to show through more clearly to prices of some goods, but their overall effects on economic activity and inflation remain to be seen.
The changing tariffs causing a lot of uncertainty for consumers and businesses, including Jennifer Bergman, who's closing her toy store in New York City.
No one was willing to take the risk of having to raise their prices. No one knew what was going to happen, and so no one could plan. You can't plan when there's chaos, and Washington is chaos.
This week, Apple said it expects more than $1 billion in tariff losses next quarter. Procter & Gamble said they plan to raise prices on about a quarter of their products, in part because of the higher costs from President Trump's tariffs, including items like Crest toothpaste and Tide detergents. And one French skincare company also warning of higher prices to come on cosmetics. When asked whether he's concerned about tariffs raising prices for American consumers, Trump saying the only price that spiked is the hundreds of billions of dollars coming in. The very legality of the tariffs was the issue before a federal appeals court Thursday, with judges sharply questioning whether President Trump has the authority to issue tariffs in the first place without congressional approval. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
As some Americans watch their wallets, new data shows consumers tend to be less responsive to shrinkflation when products are downsized as opposed to equivalent price increases. Researchers say this limited responsiveness likely stems from lack of awareness of subtle packaging changes, infrequent purchases, and strong preferences for certain products and brands. And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to take part. We want to know, excuse me, have you noticed the effects of shrinkflation? 86% of you say yes, and 14% of you say no. Come to crosswordstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. MasterCard also clearing expectations for earnings this quarter, sending its shares up 3% Thursday, while analysts have projected a sharper pullback from consumers on discretionary purchases due in the coming months as tariffs come into effect. The CEO says they remain positive about their growth outlook. The time is now 6:46 on our Friday morning. Still to come on Sunrise, a beloved mother and family member vanished years ago, leaving a community searching for answers. All right, now it's time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy birthday to Emma. Happy 17th birthday, Emma. Mom, Dad, and Jake love you very much and wish you the very best birthday. Love you.
Oh, happy birthday, Emma. And also happy birthday to Bianca. Happy birthday to Auntie B. Love ya from Royce.
Happy birthday to Jason Momoa, also known as
Khal Drogo. And Aquaman.
He's 46 today.
Happy birthday, Jason. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, you can come to crossroadstoday.com, click the drop-down menu, then click the Home tab, and then you'll see Submit Your Birthday Photo.
All right, the time is now 6:47 on our Friday morning. Happy birthday. If you're celebrating one today, happy birthday to JP.
That's right, happy birthday, and also happy birthday this weekend. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure a lot of y'all are super duper excited, just as I am, for the rain that's coming away this weekend. You can see chances 30 to 40%, so not too bad of a chance. But I'm sure a lot of y'all also saw the 7-day forecast a few moments ago, and you saw at the end of next week, what is this? Watching the tropics. What's that all about? Well, we're heading into August, and August and September are the two peak hurricane season months. So we got to look at what's happening out there. And right now we actually still have this very low confidence of some kind of tropical formation happening between late next week, August 5th through the 10th, somewhere in this green shaded area. And you can see that it goes into the Gulf. We're going to look at that future tracker here in just a second because that'll come off of a tropical wave. You can see all the convection associated with it just east of the Windward Islands and east of the Caribbean. That'll continue its current track west-northwest. And like I said, we're going to be watching that as we go into late next week, as it may go into the Gulf. But we'll look at that in a second because we're also going to be watching another tropical wave. This is tropical wave number 2, just came off the African coast yesterday, and it's going to possibly form somewhere in this deep Atlantic region also next week between the 4th and the 9th. And if you thought the Atlantic was busy, look at the Pacific, y'all. 3 possible systems over the next few days and 2 active systems right now, both a tropical storm status, but none of those are coming our way. What is possibly, like I said, possibly coming our way because all computer models, all tropical computer models are suggesting some kind of spin heading into the Gulf late next week, which we're going to be watching very closely. And we'll look at more coming up later on Sunrise.
A Seadrift mother vanishes without a trace. 7 years later, her family is still fighting for answers. 25 News Now weekend anchor Amaya Norman has the story.
Susie Escobedo was a loving mother of 2, a daughter, sister, niece, and cousin, described by her family as playful and caring. Susie was 25 when she disappeared on August 1st, 2018. Today, she would be 32 years old. She was last seen at her mobile home in Seadrift, where she lived with her husband and their 4-month-old baby. On the day she disappeared, Susie exchanged text messages with a few relatives, but all communication stopped after 1 p.m. Her husband returned home for work around 7 p.m. to find their infant daughter alone. Susie's personal belongings were left behind. Her family reported her missing that same day. Her family expresses she wouldn't just leave her baby behind. Later, it was reported that Susie was last seen at Bayside Express, a local convenience store. Her loved ones say they didn't feel enough was being done by the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office, so her uncle, Jose Vallejo, launched his own investigation, interviewing neighbors and witnesses. Frustrated by what they called a lack of communication from law enforcement, Susie's family sought help from the League of United Latin American Citizens. We reached out to Calhoun County Sheriff's Office. They tell us there's no new updates on Susie's case at this time, but her family refuses to give up. 7 years later, her loved ones continue to hold on to hope, hoping for answers and praying for justice.
It's been 7 long years of heartbreak and unanswered questions for Susie's family. But through every passing anniversary, their message remains the same. They won't stop searching until they find out what happened to her. If you have any information that could help in this case, contact the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office at 361-553-4646. Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. Scientists in Australia have made an extraordinary discovery, an insect unlike anything seen before. A researcher in Australia has identified a new supersized stick insect. The species was discovered in high altitudes in North Queensland. It's about 40 centimeters long and weighs about 44 grams, which is slightly less than a golf ball. Researchers say that it makes one of Australia's heaviest insects. They believe the species wasn't discovered until now because its habitat is too difficult to access. The president signed an executive order Thursday afternoon bringing back the presidential fitness test in schools to help improve physical fitness for America's children. In addition to signing the order, the president also introduced some of the newest members of the President's Council on sports, fitness, and nutrition. The reduction in demand for COVID vaccines is hitting Moderna. The company says it plans to cut 10% of its global workforce by the end of the year. Moderna specializes in mRNA vaccines. The company's RSV vaccine is expected to get regulatory approval later this month. It would be the first mRNA vaccine approved for something other than COVID. A big community celebration in Beeville is helping students get ready to head back to school. The Back to School Bash is happening this Saturday, August 2nd from 11 to 3 at the Coastal Bend College. Students can grab free backpacks and school supplies, plus enjoy food trucks, vendors, and special guests. It's all happening at the James R. Dougherty Student Union building, thanks to Telemundo Victoria, Coastal Bend College, and the city of Beeville. Why the proposed Texas congressional map may not be a lock to net 5 new GOP seats. The new proposed lines would also prevent few, if any, opportunities for Democrats hoping that an aggressive gerrymander could backfire on Republicans. You can read this story by the Texas Tribune on crossroadstoday.com. And we want to invite y'all to experience our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV through Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And it looks like that Port Lavaca camera is not yet fixed, but we're going to get a look at a sunrise either way.
Yeah, either way, we got a sunrise coming over all of us this morning. Looking live in Victoria, you can kind of see just that. If you look way out in the distance behind the low-level cumulus clouds, we do have a nice pretty little colors in the background with that sunrise, but we're starting out the day at 78 degrees at Victoria. Dew point is 2 degrees away from that this time, bringing humidity to only 93%, which is still high. You obviously know that, but it's not enough for fog. As you just saw on the camera, we're not dealing with too much of that this time, so I don't think y'all need to worry about that. But if you do see any, of course, just be careful. But also today, make sure that you grab your umbrella because especially tomorrow, but today we're going to have a 10 to 20% chance for especially spotty showers between Highway 59 all the way down to the coast southward. High of 97 today in Port Lavaca. That'll happen between 3 to 6 p.m. I'm thinking for the rain. Same thing for that in Victoria, same timing, but a little bit warmer today, 99 for the high. And about the same thing in Cuero, but not so much of a rain chance being north of 59. High of 99 for today. So y'all stay hydrated. Natural hydration arrives this weekend, but otherwise it's still going to be hot out there. So make sure that y'all are staying cool because look at that. The heat extends all the way into next week.
All right, thank you, Parker. And thank y'all for being with us. Join Shauna, Don, Clovio, and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10. Make it a great Friday.